All right, good evening. I think we'll call the regular meeting of Township Council for the purpose of a public hearing for Monday, November 4th to order. Mr. Richardson, can you have the preamble read, please?
A public hearing is a statutory requirement under Section 464 of the Local Government Act and must be held before third reading of a community plan, land use contract amendment bylaw, heritage designation bylaw, or heritage revitalization agreement bylaw. During a public hearing, council acts in a quasi-judicial role for the purpose of allowing persons who believe their interest in property is affected by a bylaw, permit, or other matter to make representations to council either orally, by written submission, or to add comments to or elaborate upon correspondence that may have already been presented to council concerning the bylaws. It is important to note that council is not able to receive any additional information on the bylaws following the public hearing as dictated by case law. The hearing procedure involves an explanation from the Community Development Division on the purpose of the proposed bylaws and to hear from individuals regarding the bylaws. In order to ensure that all interested parties have a reasonable opportunity to be heard, speakers are requested to keep representations as brief and succinct as possible and no longer than 5 minutes in duration, excluding the time required for questions from council. Speakers will be asked to state their name, neighborhood, and city for the record. And if referring to prepared remarks, to submit copies of these to the township clerk. Decorum must be always maintained. This includes refraining from applause, booing, or heckling. To assist with large numbers of speakers, individuals must advise the township clerk and sign the speakers list prior to the commencement of the public hearing. The names on the speakers list will be read out during the hearing. Individuals who have already addressed council and wish to add further submissions will wait until the people that have not yet addressed council have had an opportunity to speak. All submissions and speaker lists are considered part of the public record. Council members should not express their views nor debate the bylaws. However, they may question speakers to clarify particular points in their submissions. Council may consider third reading or third reading and final adoption at this meeting or at its next regular meeting. Thank you.
Of course, I'd also like to begin by acknowledging the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, and in particular, acknowledge our valued relationships with the Katzie, Kwantlen, Matsqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. With that, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by Councillor Pratt, seconded by Councillor Bailey. Call the question on A1. That carries unanimously. Mr. Richardson, item B1.
Thank you, Worship. The subject Willoughby Community Plan and Yorkson Neighborhood Upon Amendments, rezoning, development permit, and development variance permit applications pertain to a proposed residential development consisting of 1 townhouse lot, 2 single-family lots, 17 rowhouse lots, and 32 semi-detached lots at 20565, 20577, 20593, and 20605 74B Avenue, and 20560, 20572, 20596, and 20608 76 Avenue. The 9.88 acre site is designated mixed residential in the Willoughby Community Plan and single-family mixed residential in the Yorkson Neighborhood Plan. This air photo depicts the site located at 206th Street between 74B Avenue and 76 Avenue. Proposed Willoughby Community Plan and Yorkson Neighborhood Plan Amendment Bylaw 5957 designates the northwest portion of the site multifamily townhouse and accommodates adjustments to the residential housing type mix, density, and proportion components of the plan for the single-family mixed residential portion of the site. Rezoning Bylaw 5958 rezones the subject site from suburban residential SR2 to comprehensive development zone 208, residential zone R1A, and residential compact lot zones RCLSD and RH to accommodate the proposal. Streamside Development Permit 101460 accommodates watercourse consolidation and protection on the northwesterly portion of the site. Development Variance Permit 100156 proposes a lot depth of 26.4 meters for proposed lot 3 and a 1.2 meter setback for accessory detached garages abutting a lane for proposed lots 31 and 32. This slide indicates the proposed site plan. Staff recommends support of Willoughby Community Plan and York City Neighborhood Plan Amendment Bylaw 5957 and rezoning Bylaw 5958, subject to 8 conditions listed on page 10 of Council's agenda, as well as associated Streamside Development Permit 101460 and Development Variance Permit 100156. Your worship, a total of 156 notices were mailed out. 1 written submission has been received, and we have no individuals noted on the speakers list.
Are there any submissions from the public on item B1? And for a second time, are there any submissions from the public on item B1? And then for a third and final time, are there any submissions from the public on item B1? With that, I'll close the public hearing portion for B1. Does the proponent wish to come forward and make a submission? Seeing none, close the public hearing for item B1. Does anybody wish to move consideration of third reading? Moved by Councillor Pratt. I'll second it. Call the question on consideration of third reading of B1. That carries unanimously. Does anybody wish to move third reading? Moved by Councillor Pratt, seconded by Councillor Bailey. Is there any discussion on B1? Seeing none, call the question on third reading of B1. That carries unanimously. Mr. Richardson, item B2.
Thank you, Worship. The subject Willoughby Community Plan and Northeast Gordon Estate Neighborhood Plan amendments and rezoning applications pertain to a proposed residential development consisting of approximately 315 townhouse units at 7240 and 7258 210 Street, 21031, 21133, 21156, and 21081 72nd Avenue, and lands in the 21300 block of 72nd Avenue. The 17.12 acre site is designated residential and suburban residential in the Willoughby Community Plan and special study area in the Northwest Gordon Estate Neighborhood Plan. This air photo depicts the site located north of 72nd Avenue between 210 Street and Smith Crescent. On June 26, 2023, Council considered the application and resolved that the proponent be referred to staff for further consideration with the proponent to reduce the permitted density on the easterly portion of the site from 22 units per acre to 15 units per acre, or less as may be appropriate for Council to consider. To provide for an improved expanded urban ALR buffer interface on the northerly and eastern portions of the site with additional green space on the easterly property line. Provide a quality trail to highlight the northern property line where the east and west portions of the site meet, and convert the current proposed Smith Crescent vehicular access to an emergency-only access with consideration of 2 vehicle entrances off 210 Street and a suitable appropriate internal vehicle network, subject to PC Building Code considerations, cross-access easements, and an appropriate subdivision pattern as may be appropriate for Council to consider. In response to Council's resolution, the proposal has been revised, as indicated in this slide, to reduce the permitted density on the easterly portion of the site from 22 units per acre to 15 units per acre, expand the urban ALR interface buffer on the northerly and easterly portions of the site, provide enhanced trailhead at the northern property line where the east and west portions of the site meet, and convert a proposed Smith Crescent vehicular access point to emergency only and provide 2 vehicular access from 210 Street. Based on the revised proposed Willoughby Community Plan and Northeast Gordon Neighborhood Plan Amendment Bylaw 5836 designates the site multifamily in the Willoughby Community Plan and includes the site as a development permit area, and designates the site Townhouse 22 and Townhouse 15 UPA in the Northeast Gordon Estate Neighborhood Plan. Proposed rezoning bylaw 5837 amends the existing suburban residential SR2 zoning to comprehensive development zone 176 to accommodate the proposal, and provides the townhouses at a maximum density of 22 units per acre on the westerly portion of the site and 15 units per acre on the easterly portion of the site. This slide indicates the proposed site plan with vehicle access from 210 Street. Staff recommends support of Willoughby Community Plan and Northeast Gordon Estate Neighborhood Plan Amendment Bylaw 5836 and rezoning Bylaw 5837, subject to 17 conditions listed on page 12 of Council's agenda. Your Worship, a total of 291 notices were mailed out, 1 written submission has been received, and there's 1 individual notice on the speakers list, and that name is Diane Ross, Your Worship.
Yeah, great, thank you. Ms. Ross, is you here? Who's to come forward?
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I'm Diane Ross, and as I read my submission, my husband was unable to come tonight, so when I use the word we, I represent both of us, okay? For those of you who are unaware of who I am, I reside at 21225 Crush Crescent, which is on the corner of Crush and Smith. We are directly downhill of that proposed development of 210 Street along the slope of Crush Crescent to Smith Crescent. Our driveways accesses are on Crush, directly below the stop sign at Crush and Smith. My husband and I spoke at the first public hearing in June of 2023 on this rezoning application. We support and welcome the proposed changes to the original revised application. The reduction in density and access points to development off 210 and the emergency access of Smith, the proposed trail and increase of ALR buffers and green space bring elements of a livable community. We do understand the need of higher density and affordable housing, also the pressure on the township from other governments to more quickly to put development plans in place. However, that does not remove existing pressures from development in the area on the infrastructure such as road, transportation, and drainage. These are crucial to the impact to the new and existing community. As expressed in the last meeting, we currently have drainage issues with the slope on Crush Crescent. Both of our driveways need a pavement burn to assist on directing the flow to the ditch. This keeps some of the water away from our house and field, but not all. The rain events of the last couple of weeks in comparison to the November 2021 event highlight the damage by water at points further downhill. This development will include the removal of trees with well-established root systems, other vegetation that retain water, and increase coverage by buildings and roads, all of which is likely to cause an increase in the amount of water flow down from the area. Even though there will be new trees and vegetation, they will not have the same ability for years to protect the slope by absorbing water and reducing flow. We know the plan includes a stormwater detention pond. However, there are concerns as to how the drainage system will handle the rain events as we are seeing more of, and how the system will protect us and our neighbors. Additionally, the existing drainage on Smith, where the pond appears to drain into, are already overwhelmed when there is a heavy rain. Does the plan show improvement to the ditches along Smith Crescent? We are supportive of road structures that allow the flow of the additional cars from existing developments and the proposed development with hundreds of additional vehicles. We also support our farm neighbors with their need for safety of slower farm vehicles. Page 2, item 2 of the council report, there is a discussion of the provision of road designations, widenings, and necessary traffic improvements, and driveway locations, including designation of the north half of 72nd Avenue, including greenways, Smith Crescent and Crush Crescent to ultimate condition. We currently have traffic backup from the light at 210 and 72nd to our driveway on Crush when traffic is heavy. The issue will only increase as traffic on 210 increases, and we hope this is addressed in the plan. The traffic backups on Glover, waiting to access the right-hand lane to turn onto Crush. A resident of this proposed development traveling on Glover will experience these same traffic pinch points, but at a higher volume of traffic. Respectfully, we ask council to consider the development of the road structure, possible public transportation, and drainage issues before approving this development. Again, we support the proposed new changes to this development plan. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Excuse me there, Ms. Ross. I've got a question from council.
Sure.
Great. Councillor Kunst.
Yeah, so in our distribution or in our letters on table, it looks like we have 2 letters from you. Are they sort of written at different times?
Yes, they are. If
Okay.
you notice, one of them, perhaps I didn't date it.
Yeah.
But that was the original submission for
Okay.
May the 29th. You heard it on June 26th of 2023. And that was our original submission, including our concerns regarding the erosion and slope stability. The reason I we added that is so that you can have some background of understanding that we appreciate the changes. However, we still have concerns.
Okay, and are you dealing with water right now, like drainage issues on your property at the moment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
all right, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other submissions from the public on item B2? And for a second time, are there any other submissions from the public on item B2? And for a third and final time, are there any other submissions from the public on item B2? With that, I'll close the public portion of the public hearing. Is the proponent here that wishes to make a submission? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing for item B2. Does anybody wish to move consideration of third reading? Not seeing that. Get a motion to terminate. Moved by Councillor Pratt, seconded by Councillor Bailey. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. So the bylaws for item B2 will be considered by council on November 18th. Thanks.